Hey, what's up YouTube? What's up D3ers? Um, Today I wanted to do a short video on the importance A of support characters, but B wanted to talk more specifically about a support Barbarian and why this can be such a great class to meet cool people uh, and play the game at the highest level with the least amount of work. So let's jump right in. My name is Kinko TV, by the way. If you're first time here on this here YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, click the like, whatever they say. I'm going to try to do a lot more Diablo 3 content as it comes this season and maybe into the future as well. Just really enjoyed S24. And then I play a couple other games as well and post some other content as well. So if you're enjoying my voice, please follow, subscribe, and all the stuff. Anyways, support Barbarian. Why is this important? Well, A of all, it's super easy to gear, okay? There's not a whole lot of gear you need for this. Matter of fact, if you have a 70 Barbarian that does damage in Greater Rifts, or that attempts to, trust me, you're not, you probably have all this gear already, or most of it. You'd only have to watch out for maybe a Storm Shield and a Pig Stickler. So let's just walk through the gear right now, and then I'll talk about some of the stats and why these have int rolled on them later. So Pig Stickler is your weapon. You use that for a number of reasons, but it's basically a stat stick. Pretty nice to have the damage boost to beasts and humans. Then we're gonna go 3 pieces of rakers, right? So I have the boots, the chest, and the shoulders, plus a royal ring, a ring of royal grandeur, right? So that I get the 4-set bonus, which is Furious Charge gains effective every room and deals 100% damage. So basically, Furious Charge, this is your only real movement ability with this build. So you're really going to want to play with these charges appropriately. It's pretty easy to keep all 3 charges or however many you need once you get higher up in GRs, right? Because you're not going to be clearing the trash, so you'll have trash to jump to. Again, we'll go over that later. And then you're going to want 2 pieces of the Horde of 90 Savages set. So I'm rocking the gloves and the pants. Other than that, your rings, you're gonna want to roll the Band of Might, as well as the Leoric's. Well, it's different, right? So what you're usually gonna want to run, excuse me, is the Oculus ring. So this is for like power clearing like super high, where you're gonna need that extra damage, right? The ring I had on in that case was Leoric Signet. It's because I've been playing a lot of pubs, and in pubs it just makes more sense to go ahead and try to maximize your experience. So that's interchangeable. Band of Might, however, is not. So Band of Might, either Oculus or Leoric Signet. You're gonna run around the Flavor of Time so that you get the pile-on effects that last super long, and then Nemesis bracers and or strong arm bracers, excuse me, in the cube, right? So you can have both of these on. It's great. This character doesn't lack for survivability at all. So it's nice to have both. So you cube one, wear the other, and then you got Pride of Cassius on. You're gonna really, the only thing that matters with this belt is that secondary ability there says increases the duration of ignore pain by 6 seconds. That's all you need to see there. The rest of these stats on here, there's optimal shit you can roll. Doesn't really entirely matter. Ignore pain is really your only job. So as long as you got the maximum roll for that, you're in good shape. I rock the Leoric's crown. This is also in your experience variant of this, where you're not trying to power push 130 and plus. You're just kind of hanging out in pubs. Definitely run a ruby in the helm here. It's great for experience. You'll notice it immediately. It's like if you wear that and Leoric's, it's like 10% extra XP. It's something ridiculous, which is pretty awesome. So then Storm Shield is in your offhand. Again, this is just mainly for the massive damage reduction for melee attacks. You can also get some block chance on there. I opted to roll for reduces cooldown. That's kind of where I went with most of my pieces for this. Cooldown really helps this build, as you'll be able to spam your war cries and stomp and everything with less of an issue. So to that end, this build is pretty simple to play as well. The only other thing you're going to want in your cube, I run the Executioner. You have a couple options here. If you're having trouble with cooldown, you can do Messerschmitt's Reaver. So this is somewhat interchangeable, you know what I mean? Execution is pretty fun because it's like the only little mini game you have a chance to play with this class. Is can I kill steal the Rift Guardian? Can I kill steal the Elite Pack here? That's about it. Strong Arms and our Nemesis goes here, and then the RORG is necessary. So that's the whole build. Skills wise, you got ground stomp, wrenching smash. I like that on left click. I got furious charge, merciless assault. Like that on right click. And basically, you'll notice the playstyle is you're just right clicking around to the different mobs, standing there and stomping, try to get them grouped up real tight for your DPS. That's the basic gist of it. The rest of it is, I like to call it brain damage, because essentially that's what it is. You have three war cries and like shouts that you're using, right? You have ignore pain, mob rule. You have war cry, veterans warning, which is essentially just a lesser ignore pain. And then you have threatening shout, falter, which acts as a damage enhancer, right? So ideally, right, if you're playing, and you also have the harpoon, you can do ancient spear harpoon or rage flip, whatever one you're more comfortable with. You rarely end up using this. So how I play this build is I'll take these three fingers and just slot them across 2 through 4 and literally just jam those at all times. As far as your passives go, I got Inspiring Presence, Nerves of Steel, Superstition, Sword, and Board. Those change up a little bit if you run, maybe you'd want to run the Grimmer Shred thing. If you get, for instance, I got Inspiring Presence on this. This also rolled with, I think that's the passive from Messerschmitt's Reaver. So I could throw this on and be that much more effective as well. But this one is the baseline one. So you can get a little creative with your passives and your fifth passive, but basically just looking for, Nerves of Steel's a good one to have. You'll notice at points you won't need that either. You can mess with these. Again, this class is brain damage. It's just so easy to play, and you have a massive value that you're gonna add to your pubs, to your friends. Like, you'll notice you can pull up in a pub game with a zBarb. They're gonna be doing 100s, and you can immediately call a shot and be like, nope, let's do 105, 110, right? And that can be super valuable. You have the Nemesis bracers on. A lot of times in pubs, people haven't considered that either. It's really a beautiful thing, and a lot of people will decide, will friend you and will want to play with you more, because having a well-kitted zBarb is just a really good thing to have in terms of this game. You don't have to play it all the time, but when you want to just do something that's really chill, really lax, and just really run up your paragons, or just have it at your disposal, right? For whenever you see somebody that has really good DPS, it's nothing to hop in a pub, see a couple people, and then decide, hey, listen, I have a zBarb, but we have to just get in a party, and take maybe that Firebird Wizard away and re-up the game, whatever. But it's just a really good thing to have. So, lastly, to kind of tie this off, like I was saying, it's literally, I take my these three fingers right here. Ring finger starts at 2, middle finger on 3, pointer finger on 4, and you can just spam it. It doesn't matter, as long as you're trying to kind of, how we're playing GRs is people have gotten pretty hip. You kind of try to stay as a foursome and crush down the elites as you go, get around the pylons. You get to punch those. That's another little fun part of your build, and you're just slamming these abilities literally at all times. At higher levels, when you're actually trying to really group push really very high, there becomes a little bit more skill involved, where you have to kind of try to help position monsters effectively for whatever your DPS is, and you're going to be using Stomp and Shout kind of in conjunction to really increase the damage output on that mob as you go. Still just slamming these two just whenever you want. Yeah, that's about it. The only other thing that I would suggest is, instead of having points in strength, just load up vitality. So you see this Barbarian has 2.15 mil health. It doesn't really matter. It's not like, you'll notice when you start playing this, you have so much damage reduction. You have a fair bit of resistances. You have ignore pain, as well as veterans warning, war cry up. There's just not a whole lot of stuff that's going to threaten your life, certainly up and through like 129s, right? So yeah, that's that. The last thing I will mention, that's what I forgot. You want to have the legendary gem. Super important. Sorry that I waited so long to do this. I don't know how that got there, but you want Ice Blink, because that acts as a damage booster. You want to have the Gem of Infectious Toxin, which is another damage increase, right? And then the Esoteric Alteration, which is great because it just reduces so much non-physical damage, which is great. You know what I mean? So that, coupled with a 30% reduction from melee attacks with your Storm Shield, is It's crazy. Just can't really get hurt. Can't get touched. So if you have any questions, hit me with them in the comments. This is a great build to use. Again, like I said, there's a couple variations. You can use Grimmer Shed if you really want. I mean, you can use Pig Stickler and Grimmer Shed. You could, mess with it, see what you like best. At the end of the day, it's really just about cooldown reduction and just getting as tanky as possible, getting those resistances up to about 1500 each and stuff as much as you can. And going from there. And you'll notice your playstyle is pretty simple. Charging around, screaming, stomping, brain damage. GG. I hope you enjoy that. We'll see you at 150.